Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really setting sail into something huge, navigating the narrative genius of One Piece.
Hmm.
This isn't just some adventure story, is it? It feels more like a modern philosophical text in a way,
Hmm.
and our source material definitely treats it like that. It's meticulously looking at the world building, this core idea of determination, and how it just relentlessly pulls apart the concept of justice.
That's absolutely spot on. And look, our mission here isn't just, fan talk. We're really engaging with these sources as a critical assessment. Why does this story hit so hard across cultures, across generations?
Yeah.
And we're starting with this amazing paradox, right? How do you create a world that just ignores physics, freezing volcanoes, islands in the sky, instant climate shifts? How do you do that and still make it feel, well, real?
Yeah.
Palpable, wondrous, internally consistent somehow.
It feels like the answer, or at least what the analysis points to, is the sheer level of detail. The reality isn't physics-based, it's emotional. It's grounded in the weight of the stakes, tied to that crazy geography, and maybe even more importantly, the sheer force of the character's will, their determination.
Exactly. And that's how we structured this deep dive.
Yeah.
It makes sense, right? We start with the stage, the huge, impossible geography. Then we look at the engine, the internal force, determination, and finally we crash right into the big external conflict, this
Yeah.
slippery idea of justice. It helps us get to the core of why this whole voyage is just so captivating.
Okay, let's do it. Let's unpack this canvas first.
Yeah.
All right, the world itself. The sources call it a breathtaking tapestry, right? Woven from oceans and islands. And the journey on the Grand Line, it's not just getting from A to B. It's described as this endless, stunning exhibition. The geography is like an active character.
Hmm.
These islands aren't just backdrops. They're living, breathing entities, as the analysis says, challenging everything we think about climate and environment. It's real world-building artistry.
Yeah, and what's so clever is that the impossibility is what raises the stakes. If it were all predictable, say normal weather patterns, the drama just wouldn't hit the same.
Right.
But because you might sail from a tropical island straight into, like, a blizzard or find a river flowing uphill, well, every single destination demands this immediate adaptation of mind, of will. The world is constantly throwing curveballs, basically. It forces that determination we mentioned to be tested the second they land.
Okay, let's get specific. The sources highlight some key examples. First one, Drum Island. The description is beautiful, but kind of chilling, locked in an eternal winter soaring peaks. It immediately sets this mood, right? Isolation, trauma, but also resilience.
And that isolation is key. It makes the eventual payoff, the emotional release, so much stronger. Drum Island's look, those jagged, snow-covered mountains, it sets the stage perfectly for this deep catharsis. And the analysis points to that one moment Dr. Hurlick's cherry blossom fireworks
Oh, yeah.
falling onto that pure white snow. It's visually stunning.
I remember that vividly. The sources call it a breathtaking visual paradox. It connects death and renewal, despair and hope, all in one image, tied directly to the landscape.
Absolutely. You have the cold exterior of the island, representing the fear and closed hearts under that tyrant ruler. And then it's visually, symbolically thought by this act of, well, pure, determined altruism. The landscape itself, that eternal winter, it holds both the memory of loss and the promise of new life. The geography is the emotional temperature of the story right there.
Okay, so contrast that cold with the intense heat of Alabasta, a desert kingdom baking under two suns, apparently. The scale is just overwhelming. Tropical beauty, pyramids, this majestic Clan palace. But it's a beauty that's clearly under threat.
And that link between beauty and resilience is crucial in Alabasta. This is a nation facing, catastrophic drought, but also manipulation, conspiracy.
Rapido.
Exactly. The gold of the sand is everywhere, suggesting this overwhelming hardship. But the key is the life that just stubbornly persists against all that. The sources mention Eremalu, that hidden oasis, the green patch of royalty tucked away in the middle of the desert.
So that hidden life, that pop of green, the deep blue river they mentioned, the white uniforms of the Royal Guard. It's not just window dressing. It's like evidence that there's still something worth fighting for, even when a villain like Crocodile has convinced everyone the world's against them. The colors tell that story of resistance.
That's the genius, isn't it? The climate reflects the political chaos. The drought mirrors the despair people feel. And having that vibrant hidden heart gives the heroes something tangible to fight for. Plus, just getting across that massive desert, the difficulty of it, reinforces how serious the crisis is.
Okay, let's switch gears. From nature's spectacle to human ingenuity. Water 7, the City of Water. This is a totally different vibe, right? Functional beauty driven by determination, by craftsmanship.
Water 7 is an amazing piece of world building because it's a city constantly battling the ocean. It literally floats, built with this incredible artistry, and the sources really emphasize it's designed specifically to withstand the Aqua Laguna.
That massive tidal wave.
Yeah, this catastrophic wave that just washes over the lower parts of the city every single year.
Wow, that sounds exhausting. Living with that constant threat, knowing your home will be partly wrecked annually. How does the city, the architecture, show that determination?
Well, it's in the spirit of the shipwrights primarily. They rebuild with this deep love for their craft that's almost like, well, worship. They're not really conquering nature. It's more like they're negotiating with it, finding ways to coexist, as the source puts it, through sheer willpower and amazing engineering. You know, the sea trains, the whole vertical design of the city. It's this elegant, functional beauty. It shows that determination isn't just internal. You can build it into steel and wood. It's the city's collective will, born from the sea itself.
And then finally, we go full fantasy. Skypiea. If Water 7 is about engineering, Skypiea is just mythic wonder, a literal island in the sky.
Skypiea really embodies that impossible world idea. It's pure fantasy, blindingly beautiful. The sources talk about it feeling spiritual, mythical. They highlight the sea of clouds, the cumulus clouds reflecting the sun, bathing everything in this light that makes it seem golden and divine.
The geography here feels like it brings in older, almost eternal stakes, doesn't it? Ancient history, promises.
It absolutely does. It's packed with ancient ruins, weird, ethereal plants, and this whole echo of an ancient promise, the story about wanting the vocal cords of the heavens. Skypiea's very existence proves the world is way stranger and more wonderful than the world government wants people to believe. And really, it's the sheer variety that makes it all feel real. You know, the creepy fog of the Florian Triangle or the total chaos of Punk Hazard, that diversity grounds the whole thing.
So the takeaway seems clear. These incredible, diverse places, they are the stakes. They're the tangible things, the people, the cultures, the history that get saved or destroyed by the forces moving through the story, which sets us up perfectly for the next piece. The engine driving it all. Determination.
Precisely. What's actually worth fighting for in these amazing places, and what kind of inner strength do you need to protect it, especially against, global powers?
Okay, so if the world is the stage, determination is the engine, the power source. And the sources are making a pretty bold claim here. It's not just willpower. They call it a force of nature, a principle of existence. And fascinatingly, the narrative's actual magic system.
And that is such a critical insight. In a lot of fantasy, strength comes from magic powers or special bloodlines, right? Here, those things exist, yeah, but the real power, the thing that actually shifts the geopolitical landscape, the thing that lets characters survive these insane situations, it's pure commitment. It's what makes those impossible stakes feel heavy. It ensures every victory feels earned through sheer grit, often defying logic or just overwhelming odds.
So it's not about complexity, it's commitment. Okay, let's start with the prime example, Monkey D. Luffy. His determination is described as childish, pure, and utterly irresistible. Just his absolute, unwavering commitment to becoming king of the pirates.
Luffy's will is like a tidal wave because it just doesn't have self-doubt. It refuses to compromise on his definition of freedom for himself and his friends. It's simple, which makes it incredibly powerful, magnetic even, and terrifying to his enemies, who are all caught up in complex systems and rules.
But doesn't that simplicity, that purity, make him kinda naive? Dangerous even, in a world run by, absolute justice. What do the sources say about the cost of being that straightforward?
Well, that naivety is actually his greatest strength. It lets him just slice right through the lies, the political games, and get straight to the emotional core of a situation. He doesn't really care about the complex political reasons why a kingdom is suffering. He cares that people are suffering and that his friend is upset.
And that focus makes his determination incredibly potent, like that defining moment the analysis points to. Declaring war at Enies Lobby, standing against the entire world government, telling Usopp to shoot their flag down.
Strategically, maybe insane, but narratively, profoundly necessary. It was this huge visual gut punch of an act that forced the whole world to sit up and notice his will, his intent. He wasn't filing a complaint or debating policy. He was performing this act of spiritual defiance, basically saying, my will to protect my friend, it's stronger than your global authority. That's determination actively reshaping power structures right there.
Okay, so if Luffy is the tidal wave, then Rurouni Zoro is something else entirely. Ironclad discipline of honor. His will comes from that promise
Yeah.
to his dead friend, right?
Yeah.
This heavy burden he carries with such stoicism, painful endurance.
Zoro is the bedrock.
Yeah.
He'll take any hit, face anyone, give up any comfort, all to become the world's greatest swordsman. His will is pure discipline. It pushes him past what seems physically possible. I mean, he survives injuries that should kill anyone just because he has mentally refused to fail.
And the sources highlight that moment at Thriller Bark where he takes on all of Luffy's pain. That scene is the ultimate display of his discipline.
That scene is so crucial because it's not just about his personal dream anymore. It's the silent, bloody proof of his commitment, not just to his own goal, but to supporting his captain's dream. His determination has layers. First, achieve his vow. Second, make sure Luffy succeeds, even if it destroys him. It's that determination of the loyal second, willing to sacrifice everything for the crew's greater good, absolute self-annihilation if needed.
Then there's Nami. Her determination, it comes from a really different place, doesn't it? From intense trauma. Her will is described as desperate, heartbreaking resilience, fueled by those years under Arlong.
Nami's journey is vital because it connects determination directly to recovery, to healing. Her dream mapping the whole world, it's not just, cartography for its own sake. It's this profound act of reclaiming herself, rebelling against Arlong, who literally chained her to one small piece of the map, forcing her to draw for him while her village suffered.
So mapping the world is her way of saying, I'm free. I'm not tied to this place, this person, this drama anymore.
Exactly. Her will is like the sharp, determined edge of a thief fighting for the dignity of her village. That's how the source puts it. Her determination is about escaping trauma, defining her own worth. It makes her goals feel incredibly personal, relatable, and something she fights for tooth and nail.
We should also bring up Dr. Hirlik again. He shows determination that goes beyond personal ambition. We touched on him with Drum Island's geography.
Here, look, yeah, the quack doctor. His determination is rooted in this deep, altruistic love for people, even though he's, well, not a great doctor. His quest to cure all diseases, his belief in the skull and crossbones as a symbol of defiance and hope. That's pure will, focused entirely on making the world better, regardless of his own suffering or whether he even succeeds. And even in death, his determination lives on, right? Through those cherry blossoms, changing the island's whole identity.
So the common thread here, it doesn't matter if you're a pirate captain, a swordsman, a navigator, or a quack doctor. Determination is the fundamental power that lets you stand up again and again and again when everything's trying to crush you.
And that constant getting back up, that resurgence, is what gives the story its incredible momentum. Because the world, the established systems, they're constantly trying to crush these determined individuals, often, ironically, in the name of justice. And that inherent friction, this determined will crashing against established systems, that's the core philosophical battlefield, which leads us right into our next section.
Okay, we've got the canvas, we've got the engine. Now, the philosophy. The sources argue that One Piece pulls apart the idea of justice with unrelenting rigor. It shows that justice isn't one single thing, one truth. It's personal, often contradictory, held by different people, different groups.
This is where it gets really complex, because the story makes you face the fact that pretty much every major player, even the quote-unquote villains, genuinely believes they are acting justly. The conflict comes when these different determined wills, these different ideas of justice, collide. So to really get it, we need to break down the four main shades of justice the sources identify.
Right. Let's start with the biggest, and maybe the scariest. Absolute justice. The kind preached by the world government, the top Marines.
Absolute justice is all about rigidity. It's black and white. Its main goal is stability, order, the authority of the government above everything else. And the critique is, pretty clearly, that this system becomes a tool of oppression, just dressed up as necessary order. It's terrifying because it is absolute. It doesn't bend, it doesn't show mercy, it doesn't reflect on itself. Its only purpose is keeping things as they are, no matter the human cost.
And we see the horrific results of that, like the order to just wipe O'Hara off the map. Why?
Yeah.
Because scholars dared to look for forbidden knowledge, knowledge that challenged the official story.
Exactly. Just pursuing truth becomes an act of injustice against the established order. And this ideology, it's perfectly embodied in figures like Fleet Admiral Sakazuki, Akainu. His determination is just cold, ruthless, wipe out all evil, full stop. Any sign of weakness, any doubt, even in his own people, is unacceptable. He's so absolute he'd sacrifice civilians, even former allies, if he thinks it serves the ultimate goal of world stability. He genuinely believes his brutality is the only path to global peace.
And this system isn't just the top brass, right? It includes agents like Rob Lucci and CP9 who operate under dark justice, basically,
Hmm.
eliminating threats quietly, outside the public view, using any means necessary.
Precisely. And Lucci's commitment to absolute justice is chilling because he seems to get personal satisfaction from the violence itself. He doesn't question the order, he questions if he inflicted enough pain carrying it out. The system breeds these cold weapons, which makes them the perfect antagonists for the Straw Hats, whose whole value system is built on empathy.
But, as the sources point out, the Marines aren't all marching to a Kaninu's beat. Which brings us to the next shade, personal justice, embodied by someone like Vice Admiral Smoker.
Smoker is such an important counterpoint within the system. His idea of justice works outside the rigid rules of the world government. He's driven by this raw, immediate sense of morality. He focuses on catching the criminals he actually sees doing wrong, whether or not it fits the big political picture.
Which creates this really interesting gray area. He's a Marine, technically upholding absolute justice, but he's constantly defying his bosses, ignoring orders, and he'll even let his main target, Luffy, get away if he sees a bigger injustice happening somewhere else, like during Alabasta.
His determination is focused on what's right in front of him, on tangible morality. And that often puts him philosophically at odds with his own bosses. He's not trying to tear down the system, not really, but he refuses to let the system compromise his own sense of right and wrong. And you see him respect determined people like Luffy because he recognizes that genuine, even if outlawed, commitment to freedom.
Okay, moving outside the Marines entirely now. We get systemic justice, represented by the Revolutionary Army, led by Monkey D. Dragon.
Right, this is the macro level view. They're not interested in catching individual pirates or fixing small problems. Their determination is focused on overthrowing the entire corrupt world order. Their analysis is that the injustice is baked into the system itself. The celestial dragons, the world government's tyranny, the systemic oppression that keeps most people ignorant and powerless.
So their fight is huge, systemic, aiming for freedom and equality for everyone. It's like a philosophical war against the very structures of power.
Exactly. They're attacking the foundation the world government rests on. Their goal isn't just freeing a country here or there, it's dismantling the whole power structure that allows oppression to thrive. This needs immense organized determination focused on the long game, a total revolution, not just reacting to things.
And finally, we get to the justice that really drives our main characters. Empathetic justice, the Straw Hat Pirates practice. The sources describe this as not some grand political ideal, but a simple, ferocious loyalty to friends and the oppressed.
And this is arguably the most powerful form of justice in the story because it's the most human. Luffy's rules are fiercely personal, emotional. If someone hurts his friends, wrecks a beautiful island where good people live, or denies someone basic freedom, he fights. His determination is purely reactive in that sense, but intensely moral.
It's never about gaining power or territory. The perfect example is Alabasta again. Why did Luffy fight Crocodile? Not for political reasons, but simply because Crocodile had made a friend cry.
And that incredibly simple, emotional reason ends up having global consequences. Same with Enies Lobby. That massive conflict, basically declaring war on the world government, it was purely about rescuing one friend, Nico Robin, from despair and from that oppressive system. Their justice is emotional, empathetic. It's a determination to protect individual dignity, the bonds of friendship. And maybe that makes it the most sustainable kind of justice because it's constantly fueled by love and loyalty.
So the genius here, according to the analysis, is that the story gives no easy answers about what justice is. Every faction is driven by powerful determination, and the conflict just sparks when these determined wills smash into each other across that incredible, impossible world.
And that's why the geography, the canvas we started with, matters so much. When Akainu's absolute justice clashes with Luffy's empathetic justice on, say, Punk Hazard or somewhere equally unique, the setting itself changes the cost and the beauty of that struggle. The final message, the one that really sticks with you, is that maybe the most noble justice is the one closest to home. Fiercely protecting one friend, one village, one dream, it's a justice rooted in freedom and empathy, regardless of what the absolute laws from on high dictate. Hashtag tag tag outro.
Wow, that was quite a journey through the core pillars. So just to quickly recap, we looked at the beautiful, varied, often impossible world, which represents the very real, tangible stakes. Then determination, acting as this fundamental, unyielding force driving change and conflict. And finally, justice, this complex philosophical battlefield where all these determined wills inevitably collide.
Yeah, the whole voyage, when you boil it down, is this grand, beautiful, and determined quest. A quest to figure out your own sense of right and wrong, and then live freely by that code. The core message feels firmly rooted in freedom, empathy, and the stubborn belief that everyone deserves to live their life fully, no matter what global powers try to impose their version of order.
Which leaves us with maybe one final thought for you, the listener, to chew on, especially thinking about these different kinds of will shaping the world. If determination really is the magic system here, what happens when two equally powerful determined forces finally truly clash? Like Akainu's absolute justice stability through annihilation versus Luffy's empathetic justice liberation through loyalty.
We've seen the cost of absolute justice, haven't we? Isolation, fear, the need to destroy anything that deviates. Empathetic justice, while maybe messier sometimes, seems to build alliances, create unwavering loyalty across the world. So the question becomes, which form of determination, thinking about the long-term resilience of people and the beautiful world they inhabit, is actually more sustainable? Which one is better for building a genuinely better world? Is it that ironclad discipline focused on destruction? Or is it that irresistible, self-spreading tidal wave of freedom and friendship?
A question that really gets to the heart of the whole story. Something to ponder as you navigate your own moral compass, maybe? That's all for this deep dive. We'll see you next time.